Hello, everyone. Thank you for your attendance despite your busy schedule. We would like to open the JAMA press conference. In the beginning, we would like to introduce the speakers for today. Chairman Masanori Katayama, Vice Chairman Toshihiro Suzuki, Vice Chairman Ivan Espinosa, Vice Chairman Toshihiro Mibe, Vice Chairman Motofumi Shitara, Vice Chairman Akira Matsunaga. So we have total 6 speakers today. Here, there's a newly appointed Vice Chairman, Mr. Ivan Espinosa. He would like to give a few words to the members.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Ivan Espinosa from Nissan Motor, and I'm deeply honored to have been appointed to the position of Vice Chairman of JAMA, and I understand the big responsibility that this brings. Over the past 20 years, I have worked in various markets around the world, and I have witnessed the characteristics of many industry players. Through this experience, I believe that the strengths of the Japanese automotive industry are its strong passion for monozukuri, the high technological capabilities, and its solidarity. The automotive industry in Japan and globally is undergoing a very significant transformation, and we are all facing new challenges every day. Here in Japan, the automotive industry plays a very, very important role in the national economy, and it is a key industrial indicator. Going forward, I will work with the JAMA chairman and fellow vice chairman to contribute to the development of the Japanese automotive industry and the growth of the Japanese economy. I strongly believe we have the combined power to achieve this. Therefore, I intend to fully leverage my knowledge, experience, passion, and skills in this effort. I appreciate your support and look forward to working very closely with you at JAMA. Thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you. Well then, we would like to pass on to the Chairman Katayama. Hello, this is Katayama speaking here. It's only 2 months since the last conference. That was in March, but the uncertainty in the world economy is really expanding. Against that backdrop, we discussed in the board meeting topics like response to the U.S. trade policy, auto tax system revision, and Japan Mobility Show. So these were the main parts of the discussions. And I'd like to give my opening remark around initiatives underway in the automotive industry, staying in touch with what was discussed in the board meeting today. First, on the trade policy, the U.S. government imposed 25% additional tariff on vehicles on the April 3rd and on auto parts on May 3rd. And it's already a fact that this is already impacting both countries' economy as well as on the global level. The other day, we published the latest data on Japanese auto manufacturers' contribution to the U.S. economy. From the start of local production in 1982 to the end of 2024, the cumulative investment is $66.4 billion, with the production volume of 100 million units. Japanese manufacturers' local production in 2024 amounted to 3.28 million units, generating 110,000 direct employments, supporting over 2.2 million employments if including economic trickle effects. So we believe that we contribute to the US society and economy by providing a product with high environmental and safety performance that the US users can ride with peace of mind. We appreciate that the Japanese government is already engaged in dialogues with the United States ahead of the rest of the world, and they continue to have their discussions. The UK and the US have already reached a trade agreement. We hope that the business environment where both countries' auto industry prepare can be maintained and two governments can find a further future-oriented path through continuous and productive discussions. In Japan, the government has started a nationwide consultation service and financing support, provision of management advices, as well as introduction of the initiatives to quickly support small and mid-sized suppliers in the industry. And we are really deeply appreciative for this.
JAMA will continue to work closely with JAPIA and our suppliers to protect the 5.5 million people working in the automotive-related industry. In order to maintain our automotive industry, there is a need for support to the supply chain as well as measures for boosting a sustainable domestic demand. These two pillars are essential. JAMA has long argued that 9 types of automobile-related taxes amounting to 9 trillion yen are far removed from the principle of simplicity and fairness, and a fundamental reform is needed. With significant uncertainties internationally, affairs for securing domestic demand and maintaining domestic production and employment over the medium to long term is strongly needed. In the light of the changing circumstances in the upcoming finalization of the automobile tax system revision, we urge for the structural change to boost sustainable domestic demand through the simplification of vehicle-related taxes and the reduction of user burden. Specifically, we seek the elimination of the environmental performance tax, which constitute double taxation with consumption tax at the time of purchase. JAMA strongly urge the government and the relevant ministries and agencies to implement these changes. We have reached a point where Japan Mobility Show is now less than 6 months away. Given the current global situation and the uncertainties surrounding the industry, we are eager to present a vision of the future of mobility that everyone can enjoy. The Japan Mobility Show, which evolved from the Tokyo Motor Show, last year was organized as a business event. This year, similar to previous years, we are preparing a full-scale show targeting the general public. In addition to automakers, a diverse range of companies and startups from various sectors will join us to propose an exciting future of mobility. We plan to provide more details to the press in late June. Please look forward to it. We continue to ask for your understanding and support from the press for the automotive industry. This concludes my remarks. Now we would like to move on to questions and answers. We ask, similar to previous, to limit your questions to questions for JAMA and not individual companies. Also, we would like to receive questions from as many people as possible, and therefore, one organization, one question limitation. Thank you for your cooperation. First, we would like to receive questions from the floor. Please raise your hand if you have a question. And we will be standing around a microphone. Please answer with your organization name and individual name before asking your question.
The person sitting in the second row from the back. From Nikkan Jidosha newspaper, my name is Fukui. Thank you for the opportunity. So it's been 2 months from last conference, and now there has been the additional tariff introduced. So I would like to ask a question on that. Mainly, it was disclosed this month. The auto manufacturers and the auto parts manufacturers talking about the uncertainty and the non-transparency. As the industry organization, what is the responses you're planning on, or what kind of initiatives are you taking? Especially that the government is saying that at the end of April, they introduced the emergency package, which included like a consultation services, support to the financing, so that there will be some galvanization to the domestic consumption. And the ruling party was also saying that if necessary, they will put in even further initiatives. But in the industry, the subsidy for the eco vehicles don't always get the support. So even including this type of element, would you please answer to my question? Thank you. Then this question should be answered by the Chairman Katayama. I would like to answer to your question. Today, in the board meeting, we were hearing to different ideas from different companies and different board members. But the common theme was that we are going through tough negotiations, but the government is generating a positive dialogue, and they are quite persistent. That was at least commonly understood amongst the board members. And in the last conference, we were saying that it would have been the best if we could have avoided the additional tariff that came in on the 3rd of April. But it's a negotiation, so we were requesting for the backup plan. And as you just mentioned, there can be emergency package and support to the supply chain. So they are already setting up consultation services or providing support to financing. And that was a quick move taken on the part of the government, and that was also commonly agreed amongst the meeting participants. But from JAMA's perspective, we would hope a wide and open trade environment from a historical point of view as well. This is the most effective environment. So we would like to cancel this tariff in the earliest timing possible. At the same time, as we keep saying, once again, it is a matter of negotiation. So given this fact, different things can happen going forward. And we want to maintain the industrial foundation for this goal. The vehicle body taxation should be simplified, and the tax burden should be lightened. From a global point of view, this taxation is on the heavier side in Japan. And we need to also create a continuous demand, which would lead to the circulation of the Japanese economy and the revitalization of the Japanese economy. So this point was also agreed upon. But once again, as you mentioned in your question, since we don't know what's going to come in the future, given the turn of the situation, we may need an emergency initiative to liven the economy. That was also a part of the discussion, although we didn't reach to talk about details. But we understand that the negotiations can be tough, so different discussions took place. Once again, well, like base increase and other initiatives to get out of the deflation need to be kept, and we have a strong thoughts for that, and we need to be prepared with different means. That's it from me.
This is Tanaka from Nikkei newspaper. In the negotiations between US and Japan, there are discussions that there are some non-tariff barriers in Japan. In the negotiation, when we look at the safety standards between Japan and the US, there is some discussions to lessen the burden of the standard. What do you think about loosening the standards? Chairman Katayama, first of all, what we would like you to understand is for Japanese automobiles, in 1979, Japan has completely lost the tariffs, and that standards and restrictions, starting from the 1970s, JAMA has worked together with the Japanese government and also to look at what the WP29, the Global Forum and international standards, to see what is the required standards for international at the international level for both environment and safety, so that we have a commonly understood standard and conditions. This has been our stance, and we believe we are working in that manner.
Then next, I will change the row to take question from. In the middle row, the third person from the back. Right. Go ahead. Nishizono from NHK. Thank you for the opportunity. This is to the Chairman Katayama. Frankly speaking, once the tariff was introduced, what kind of impact have you been seeing, including in the supply chain? What's the existing, the present impact that you're seeing? Well, related to automobiles, we had that 90 days period. So depending on each company, the situation is different with different business models. So it's hard to answer on each situation. On the financial side as well, the treatment of this introduction of a tariff can be different in each manufacturer, and every company is going through different decision-making processes. I think the impact as of today is in the same situation. Even in Isuzu, there are different elements to it, like inventory matter is one of them. So I know where this question is coming from, but at this timing, it's difficult to answer. That's it from me. Because it's difficult to read the direction of the policy, it's difficult to make decisions. Frankly speaking, as we keep repeating, productive discussions are ongoing, but it's once again negotiation. We don't know how long it's going to take, and we don't know where it's going to land. From our perspective, our attitude doesn't change, and we are certain that the government understands our stance. In each company, there's different marketing and handling, so it's hard to give a comprehensive answer to your question.
I am Tanigawa from Investment. My question is regarding mobility show. 2 years ago, it was very with 1.1 million people, but there was a long wait. And Honda Jet, there was a line of 200 minutes, and I believe JAMA souvenir shop was also 30 minutes. And these were very difficult for people, general people who are coming to the mobility show. They were basically looking at other people, or they were just looking at the crowd. And you also mentioned startups, and startups are starting to register starting now. What are some of the messages from JAMA for startups that are thinking of registering? Regarding mobility show, we would like to ask Vice Chair Mibe to answer. Thank you for the question. Regarding mobility show, we are in the preparation stage. We believe that we want to create a futuristic mobility world and an exciting mobility world. There are 3 pillars, and we want to get the general public and also for all of the participants to enjoy the futuristic view. The details will be presented on the 24th of June, towards the end of June. We are looking at various of the 3, the future, the mobility, attractiveness of, and mobility business are the 3 pillars. And for the mobility business is where the startup companies will be participating. And all for the people who are interested in knowing more about the contents will be available on the 24th of June. Regarding the weight, we had 100 million people, 1 million people who have come. And this year, again, we will need to make sure that we need to make considerations for the waiting time. The members of the mobility show are thinking about the way of how we can alleviate the waiting time. Thank you very much.
In this row, the person in front, sitting in the middle. Nakajima Minami office. About the new standard, there are some misunderstandings, so I would like to ask this question to the Vice Chairman. About the new standard, 2-wheelers, we are focusing on the fact that a certain license allows the driving of these 2-wheelers, and the cause of this new addition isn't really understood by the users. There is a possibility of non-licensed drivers riding the 2-wheelers, and we want to know of the initiatives to prevent the non-licensed riding of the motorcycles. So this is to the Vice Chairman Shitara. Thank you for your question. As you rightfully mentioned, from this April, the max output of 400 kilowatt, the 125cc max 2-wheelers is considered a new standard motorcycle, so that the licensing law was modified. For this new standard 2-wheelers, we do understand the need to clearly communicate the information and the rules. In the 2-wheeler committee, we are going to use the owned media so that the potential two-wheeler users and existing two-wheeler users and the general public can understand the information and the information reaches them. We are getting about 100,000 views every time, but the information is being sent, yet we don't consider this enough. So from April, the law is amended and put into effect, but there is a misunderstanding that with the conventional 125cc, it can be ridden, but the committee should continue to send information, and together with the Ministry of General Affairs, the MLIT, and using the governmental communication path, we need to keep sending the information. And for the motor schools and dealers, we would be using digital signages and other means so that we can promote the spread of information. And to the members of the media, throughout our different meetings, we keep sharing our requests so that we can get your support on spreading the correct information. Thank you so much.
We will take one more question. I am Yamamoto from Diamond. I have a question regarding parts tariffs. For parts manufacturers, they sell or they are requesting some of the tariffs to be held by the automakers. And each individual company seems to also have differences in the treatment. What is your direction regarding, did you have any discussions regarding the tariff amount for the parts? I would like, Chairman Katayama, please. Regarding who will take the burden of the tariff for parts, there has been discussion in both JAMA and also the parts organization. There has not been any official dialogue between the two organizations. In the automotive industry, we are not yet decided on how we will treat the Trump tariffs. And as we have mentioned already, as I have mentioned in my previous discussion already, we would like to try to not have to deal with tariffs or not have to have tariffs. But when we look at just the United States, we have already made significant investment and also the business and as well as industrial foundation in the country, and therefore we are still unsure of how these discussions will proceed. We have not yet had a clear discussion as to what portion will be borne by the parts manufacturer and what portion will be borne by automakers. From our position, we can only manufacture automobiles with the parts, and also the parts manufacturer do not exist with makers, and therefore we are two organizations or two industries that support each other. Maybe my word is not necessarily the correct one, but we are both in the same boat, and therefore we need to make sure that it will be a beneficial or supportive situation for both parties. Once we have more clear answer or clear situation of how this will turn out, we will be able to have a session where we can brainstorm for the best way forward for both industries. At this point in time, we have no clear direction officially regarding what to do with the parts tariff. Thank you.
Here, we would like to ask the online members to see if there are any questions. If you have any question, we would nominate you. If you are appointed, please turn on the mic video and identify yourself before you ask your question. On your PC screen, please click your raise your hand button.
はい、それではベストカーの
Then
寺崎様。
Terasaki-san from Best Car, please turn on the microphone and camera so that yourself is displayed on the screen. Terasaki from Best Car, thank you for the opportunity. This is to Mr. Espinosa. It's your first time to join the board meeting as well as the press conference. About that, I have a question. Mr. Uchino was working to spread the electric vehicle and create the foundation to support that. It was the second topic in the JAMA. And Mr. Espinosa, are you going to take it over from Mr. Uchida so that you are going to spread the e-vehicle and creating the foundation in the society? If you are to take it over from Mr. Uchida, how is your method? Thank you. So it's one of the 7 topics in JAMA. Espinosa, are you ready?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your question. And yes, I will be taking over this very important initiative. It's crucial for the Japanese industry, for us to have the right infrastructure and the right coverage and the right EV offer so that we have a strong demand domestically that can support also the export. So I will be very engaged into this. And I'm sure together with the support of a fellow vice chairman, we can work together and find a very strong output. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
はい、ありがとうございました。
続きましてまたオンラインからお願いしたいと思います。
Also from online,
高山様、マイクとビデオ機能をオンにして
Mr. Takayama, freelance journalist. Once you see yourself on the screen, please start talking. Do you hear me? Yes, we do. I am Takayama, a free journalist from the journalist organization. I have a question regarding the mobility show. Similar to last, there is mentioning of future in the topics and theme, and there is an emphasis on startups. On the other hand, I have had discussions with many customers and receive many opinions. Many of the 4-wheel or 2-wheel fans of the who have been a long-lasting fan. Of course, future is something they do also is interested in, but they also want to know more about the core fan excitement for the present. So these are some of the opinions that we hear from the actual consumers or users. You said that, of course, the details will be coming up in June, but in the June presentation, will there be something for the core users, the long-lasting, long users, fans? Since this is regarding the show, so let's ask Vice Chair Mibe. This is a wonderful question. As we have mentioned, there are 3 pillars. The excitement of mobility is one of the pillars, and therefore this is really one of our key points. When we look at the past of the key cars and motorcycles that have been popular throughout the generations, we will be having a special focus on how this historical development has happened. Therefore, you will be able to see all of the classical cars and racing cars of the past periods, and there is going to be a wonderful exhibit and excitement. I cannot disclose any more information, but we would like to really excite the people who have been a long-lasting fan of the automobiles. Thank you.
Then coming back to the floor, go ahead. The third person from the front. Nishimura from AJJ. Thank you for the conference. It's about SDV that would come into probably the mobility show. And it's more detailed. It's SDV in the dealers. Each company is probably installing the in-car OSs, but the value for the users is the enhancement of the feature by software updating. But the dealers who are the contact part to the users are having difficulty explaining the strength of this SDV. And it was difficult already whenever there were new features introduced in the past. So as JAMA, when the SDV is being actually sold, there's any initiatives to facilitate it. And for the commercial use and for the private use, the SDV are going to be quite different. So if you could touch upon that, that would be great as well. Thank you. At the sales point, the SDV and our remarks as JAMA. Okay. Maybe start with the Vice Chairman Matsunaga, and if there's any other Vice President who would like to chime in, please. But let's start with Mr. Matsunaga. And thank you for your question. SDV is one of the major challenges and initiatives that we are working on for the future. Within the vision we disclosed the other day, it was mentioned. And the government is also going to work on this SDV, and they are going to publish their vision as well. That's how important this is. And as JAMA, we need to show how we are going toward that direction, and we need to also work on how we can facilitate the communication to the general public. And we also need to make the challenges we are facing clear. As you mentioned, the need for this SDV needs to be clearly and thoroughly communicated to the dealers. And that's the direction in which the JAMA is holding our discussions. That's it from me. Thank you.
One more person from the floor. Thank you very much. We are ahead of schedule, but we would like to end today's press conference at this time. Thank you very much for gathering during your busy schedule.